Amara Lewis had always believed life was about surviving quietly. She was 22, beautiful in a soft, unspoken way, deep brown skin that glowed in the light, quiet eyes that saw everything but said nothing, and a heart that had learned to hide behind politeness. She worked as a maid in the grand Blackwood mansion, a house too large, too cold, and too full of secrets. Every morning before sunrise, she tied her hair into a bun, slipped into her simple gray uniform, and whispered a prayer before stepping into that world of marble floors and silent halls. The other maids whispered about her. "She's too quiet. She's too pretty to last long here. She doesn't talk much. I bet the alpha doesn't even know she exists." They were right, or so she thought. Her boss, Ethan Blackwood, was the Alpha King, the richest and most powerful man in the city. He owned companies, land, and respect that no one dared question. They said he never smiled, never loved, and that even his enemies bowed before his name. But Amara never saw him up close. She only saw his reflection in the mansion's framed pictures. Tall, broad, and always serious, with eyes that carried too much darkness. Yet every time she cleaned his room, she felt a strange pull. Like the air itself shifted around his things, like something in her soul recognized something in his. Still, she ignored it. She had bigger worries: her sick aunt at home, unpaid bills, and the strange mark on her lower back. It looked like a small crescent moon wrapped in fire. She had covered it since she was a child, afraid people would think she was cursed. Sometimes when she stood under the shower, she'd touch it and whisper, "What are you?" The mark never answered, but sometimes it burned faintly, only when she thought of someone she didn't know. Ethan Blackwood had everything: power, wealth, and fear, but peace was something he'd never known. Every night for years, he had the same dream. A woman with soft brown skin stood under moonlight, her back bare, a glowing mark shaped like a crescent flame across it. When he reached for her, he woke up, heart racing, soul aching. It haunted him. He could kill men with one command, yet he couldn't silence this one vision. His grandmother once told him when he was a boy, "When the moon burns red and the flame answers, your heart will find the one it belongs to. But be careful, Ethan. The bond of the chosen can save or destroy." He had laughed it off then. Now he wasn't laughing. He had tried to fill the emptiness: women, business, control, but nothing lasted. His wolf rejected every touch. His soul remained restless. To the world, Ethan was ruthless, but deep down, he was just tired of being alone. And that night, his destiny finally came home. It was a long night. A meeting of powerful alphas had drained him. The party was loud: laughter, fake smiles, perfume, and lies. When he left, his black car cut through the rain, and his driver dropped him off at the mansion gate. He dismissed everyone, wanting silence. The house was dark and still. As he walked down the hall toward his study, he noticed a light from one of the guest rooms. Curious, he pushed the door open and froze. Amara stood near the mirror, unbuttoning her uniform top. Her skin shimmered like honey in the dim light, and then he saw it. The mark. That same crescent and flame, the mark from his dreams. It was glowing faintly under the soft lamp. His breath caught. His heart stopped. He took a slow step forward, his body moving before his mind could think. The air around them felt thick, magnetic. Amara turned, startled. "Mr. Blackwood, I didn't know you were home." She clutched her shirt, eyes wide, voice trembling, but he didn't answer. His gaze stayed locked on her lower back. He whispered, "Where did you get that?" "What?" she asked, confused. "That mark," he said, voice rough. "The moon and the flame." Her lips parted. "I've had it since I was born." "Why?" Ethan's breath came hard. He stepped closer. Without asking, his hand reached out, slow, hesitant, and pressed gently against the mark. The moment his skin touched hers, everything around them changed. A burst of energy flooded the room, warm, alive, electric. Amara gasped, clutching his arm, her knees almost giving way. Ethan's eyes glowed faint gold, his wolf growling deep inside him like it had been waiting for her. She turned slowly to face him. "What's happening to us?" He couldn't answer. His hand still rested on her back. His body shook with the force of what he was feeling, like his soul had found something it had lost long ago. Their eyes met, one look that felt like destiny itself. "Amara," he said softly, his voice breaking. "I've seen you before, in my dreams." Her heart pounded. "That's impossible. Then why does it feel like this?" The pull between them grew stronger, impossible to resist. And when he kissed her, it was slow at first, tender, uncertain, then deeper, as if their bodies remembered what their minds forgot. She didn't know what was happening, only that it felt right. But when he realized how innocent she truly was, he stopped. "Amara," he whispered, voice trembling. "I can't. You deserve more than this." She looked at him, tears gathering in her eyes. "Please don't stop. I don't know what this is, but I feel it too. Please, don't leave me like this." His restraint broke. The night became soft, filled with whispers and warmth. Two souls connecting in a way neither could explain. When the first rays of morning light touched the curtains, Ethan woke up, alone. The space beside him was empty, still warm. He sat up quickly, scanning the room. "Amara?" he called. No answer. He rushed to the dining room and stopped when he saw it, a tray of breakfast and a folded note. His chest tightened as he read the small, shaky handwriting. "Thank you for letting me feel something real. I know I don't belong in your world. Please don't look for me." Ethan's jaw clenched. His heart, that cold iron heart, ached for the first time. His wolf howled inside him, restless and angry. He searched every corner of the mansion. Nothing. She was gone. Days passed, then weeks. But her scent lingered. Her laughter echoed in the halls like a memory he couldn't bury. He tried to work, but every time he closed his eyes, he saw her. The mark, the glow, the feeling. He started dreaming again, only now she was calling his name. Ethan became obsessed. He sent people to look for her, private investigators, guards, trackers, but it was like she had vanished into the wind. He turned to things he once mocked. Books on ancient bonds, spiritual guides, witches who spoke of soul marks. One night, he met an old woman who lived in the forest outside the city. Her eyes were silver, her voice low. He showed her the mark's drawing. She stared at it for a long time before whispering, "So it has begun." "What has?" he demanded. "The union of moon and flame," she said, "the mark of the chosen mate. She is your other half, born to balance your darkness. Together, your bond will awaken a power that protects the weak and restores what has been lost." He frowned. "You're saying she's meant for me?" The woman nodded slowly. "More than meant. She was created for you, but if you fail to protect her, your power will destroy you both." Her words hit deep. He finally understood. This wasn't just love. It was destiny, and destiny never let go. Months passed. Rain fell harder that night when Ethan stood on his balcony, feeling something stir deep inside him. His chest tightened, a pull, gentle but strong. He followed it. The drive was long, but his wolf guided him to a small hospital on the edge of town. There, under the soft glow of streetlights, he saw her, Amara, helping an old man carry supplies. His heart stopped. She looked thinner, tired, but still breathtaking. When she saw him, she froze. The box in her hands slipped to the ground. "Why are you here?" she whispered. He walked closer, eyes never leaving hers. "Because I couldn't forget you. You shouldn't have come." "I had to. You're my mate." She shook her head. "I'm just a maid, Ethan. I don't belong in your world." He smiled sadly, stepping closer until their breaths touched. "You belong exactly where my soul rests. and it's been restless since you left." Tears filled her eyes. "I thought I was a mistake." He lifted her chin. "You were a miracle." The rain began to fall heavier, and as it did, he reached for her hand. When their skin touched, the mark on her back glowed through her dress, brighter, pulsing softly. Ethan's eyes glowed gold again, matching her light. The air shimmered with unseen energy. "Do you feel it?" he whispered. She nodded through her tears. "It's like the world is breathing through us." He smiled faintly. "Because we were meant to heal it." She looked up at him, afraid, in awe, in love. "Then what happens now?" He took a deep breath. "Now, we stop running from fate." He pulled her close, their lips meeting again. Slower, surer, complete. The energy that had once burned between them now wrapped them in calm. For the first time, both understood what their connection meant. Not just love, but purpose. The mark wasn't a curse, it was a calling. Weeks later, Amara returned to the mansion, not as a maid, but as his queen. The alphas whispered. Some didn't understand, but Ethan didn't care. Together, they used their bond to help those in need, protecting the weak, breaking old power chains. When she touched the sick, her warmth healed. When he stood beside her, his strength multiplied. They became a force the world had only read about. The moon and the flame reborn. One night, Ethan held her on the balcony where he had once stood alone. The moon shone bright, silver against the dark sky. "Do you still feel it?" he whispered against her ear. She smiled softly. "Every day." He pressed a kiss to her neck. "The bond?" Her voice trembled. "And the love." He turned her around, holding her face gently. "You were the light I never knew I needed. I thought power would complete me, but it was you." Amara's eyes glistened. "And I thought I was meant to serve, until I learned I was born to stand beside you." Their foreheads touched. The mark on her back glowed one last time, golden and alive. And above them, the moon seemed to burn with flame. The prophecy had come true. The Alpha King had found his heart, and the girl with the hidden mark had found her destiny. Peace never lasts forever. After weeks of quiet mornings and laughter-filled nights, Ethan began to notice something strange. His powers, strength, speed, the instincts of an alpha, were growing beyond control. Sometimes his eyes would glow when he wasn't angry, and storms would rise around the mansion for no reason. Amara sensed it too. Each time she touched him, she felt heat rise through his skin, almost burning. "What's happening to you?" she whispered one night, tracing her fingers over his chest. Ethan looked away. "I don't know. I feel stronger, but darker too." She frowned softly. "You think it's because of our bond?" He nodded. "The prophecy said we'd awaken power. Maybe it's more than I can handle." Amara cupped his face. "Then I'll help you control it." But deep inside, Ethan feared something he didn't say out loud. What if that power wasn't only light? What if their bond had also awakened the darkness inside him? It began with voices. Late at night, when Ethan stood in front of the mirror, he heard whispers. Not human. Something ancient. Power or peace. You cannot have both. He clenched his jaw. "Who's there?" The reflection shimmered for a moment, and his own image smirked back at him, cold and cruel. "You are the Alpha King," the voice said. "Why chain yourself to weakness?" He slammed his fist against the glass, cracking it. But even then, the whisper echoed. "Without the girl, you are free." Ethan backed away, breathing hard. The mark on his chest, the one that had appeared after bonding with Amara, glowed faintly, and he dropped to his knees as pain rushed through his veins. Miles away, Amara woke up screaming, clutching her lower back, the mark burning like fire. Their bond was shaking. The next morning, Ethan found her sitting by the window, pale and silent. "What happened?" he asked, kneeling beside her. "I felt you," she whispered. "Your pain." It was like fire inside me. He clenched his jaw, guilt washing over him. "It's my fault. The power, it's changing me." Amara shook her head. "No, it's testing us." He met her eyes. "What if I hurt you? Then I'll remind you who you are." Her words were soft but firm. The same girl who once cleaned his floors now held his heart, and the strength to steady a king. He took her hand. "If this bond is meant to save the world, why does it feel like it's breaking us first?" She smiled faintly. "Because love always comes before the light." Ethan leaned in, pressing his forehead against hers. "Then I'll fight for you, even if it means fighting myself." The storm came without warning. Winds howled across the mansion grounds, trees bent, and thunder cracked the sky. Ethan stood on the balcony, eyes glowing gold, power raging inside him. "Ethan!" Amara ran to him, her hair whipping in the wind. "You have to stop." He turned, his voice deeper, almost inhuman. "It's too strong, Amara. I can't." She grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. "Yes, you can. You're not the darkness. You're the man I love." Her words cut through the chaos like a blade. For a moment, his eyes flickered back to human. But then lightning struck nearby, and he dropped to his knees, groaning in pain. The mark on his chest blazed. Amara fell beside him, wrapping her arms around him even as energy surged between them. "Let me in," she whispered. "Let me share it." He shook his head weakly. "It'll destroy you. Then we'll fall together." She pressed her hand over the mark, and instantly their bond flared, a blinding light bursting around them. The storm stilled, the world went silent, and when the light faded, they were both lying on the balcony floor, holding each other, hearts still beating in sync. Days later, Ethan woke up weak but calm. The darkness that had haunted him was gone. The mark on his chest had faded into a soft golden glow. Amara sat beside him, watching quietly. "You saved me," he said, voice hoarse. She smiled. "No, we saved each other." He reached for her hand. "How did you know what to do?" She looked down. "I didn't. I just listened to my heart. It told me that love was stronger than power." Ethan chuckled softly, pulling her closer. "You sound like my grandmother." She must have been wise. She was. But she never said love would hurt this much. Amara rested her head on his shoulder. "That's because love is the only power that never obeys. Peace never comes without a test." After weeks of calm, the borderlands began to burn. Packs who once lived under Ethan's protection were being attacked by the Shadow Clan, a group of rogues who worshipped chaos and hated the prophecy that bound moon and flame together. When word reached the mansion, Ethan stood before the council table, fists tight. "They're not just after land," he said. "They're after her." Amara stepped forward, her voice steady. "Then we fight together." That night, under a blood-red moon, the Alpha King rode with his warriors. The wind howled through the forest as torches flickered like fallen stars. Amara rode beside him, her white cloak glowing faintly, the flame mark pulsing with light beneath it. As the Shadow Clan emerged from the trees, darkness rolled across the field like a living wave. Ethan's men faltered, fear thick in the air. Amara reached for him. "Remember what the seer said, our bond protects the weak." He nodded, took her hand, and their marks ignited at once. His chest blazing gold, hers burning crimson. A beam of light shot upward, splitting the storm clouds. The darkness screamed as it met the light. "Moon!" Ethan roared. "Flame!" Amara answered. The ground trembled. Where his power struck, the earth shielded his soldiers. Where hers touched, the wounded rose again, healed and stronger. They moved as one, his strength, her armor, her compassion, his weapon. Each heartbeat between them was command and prayer at once. When the Shadow Alpha finally appeared, a tall figure cloaked in smoke, he sneered, "Love makes you weak." Ethan drew his blade, eyes glowing. "Love makes me unstoppable." They clashed in a burst of lightning. The sky itself seemed to watch as Amara raised both hands, releasing a ring of light that burned through the darkness. Ethan struck the final blow, his sword lit by her flame. Silence fell. The storm broke into rain, washing blood into earth and turning it to gold. One by one, the warriors bowed, not to fear, but to the bond that had saved them. Ethan turned to her, breathless. "We did what we were made for." Amara smiled through tears. "We saved more than lives. We saved hope." As dawn rose, the last clouds faded, leaving only a sky the color of forgiveness. The moon and the flame had fulfilled their purpose, not by ruling, but by protecting. Weeks later, peace returned to the kingdom. The storm that once haunted the mansion was gone. Ethan and Amara became more than just lovers. They became symbols. He led with justice. She healed with compassion. Together, they brought balance where there was once fear. One night, standing under the same balcony where their bond had first glowed, Ethan whispered, "Do you ever think about how we met?" Amara smiled. "Every day. If I hadn't walked into that room..." "You would have found me another way," she said gently, "because fate doesn't knock. It just breaks the door open." He laughed softly. "You've become bold." She looked up at him, eyes shining. "Maybe your strength rubbed off on me." He kissed her forehead. "And your light saved me." Above them, the moon burned bright, and for a second, a faint golden flame wrapped around it. The prophecy lived on, but this time not as destiny, as love. Years later, legends spoke of the moon and flame bond, the Alpha King who found peace and the human girl who carried divine fire in her soul. But in truth, they lived quietly, far from power and wars. One evening, as they watched the sunset, Amara whispered, "Do you think our story will ever be forgotten?" Ethan smiled, holding her close. "Not as long as the moon remembers the flame." She chuckled. "Then we're eternal." He nodded, eyes soft. "Eternal, and finally free." Their lips met one last time under the golden sky. Slow, tender, full of everything they'd survived. Because in the end, love didn't just save them, it redefined them. And as the night fell, the mark on her back glowed faintly one more time, a quiet reminder that destiny always finds its way home. No power is greater than love. No fate stronger than a bond that was written in the stars. If you believe in destiny, that finds you even in silence. Like, subscribe, and share this story. Because somewhere, someone is still waiting to be found.